Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Deep Six, our WrestleMania and Monday Night Raw review show. We're coming off the heels of one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time, and I kid you not. Just kidding, guys. Decent WrestleMania. We're gonna jump right into it. Met my expectations. There were some good things. There were some very bad things to talk about. But first off, before we go into talking about WrestleMania 36, I would like to introduce one of our guest co-hosts tonight. We have Cooper from the Dirty South. How you doing, man?
How thick you want this accent to draw to be further in?
You know what? You can make it as thick as you want, brother.
There we go. I'm doing good. Appreciate you guys having me.
No, thank you so much for hopping on. We got JD returning for a third straight week in a row. How you doing, Jay?
Good, Wayne. What's up? I'm glad to be back. It's
Cooper.
always fun to be with somebody from the Dirty South.
There you go.
Cooper, how long you been a wrestling fan for?
So it actually goes back pretty far. My parents were actually born in Memphis. So you talk about the heart and soul of wrestling back in the day. So, I mean, it's kind of been ingrained in my DNA for a long time. But I kind of started really watching probably around right when Nitro started. So around 95, 96, right before the Monday Night War started. So I was that kid in middle school who was delivering crotch chops and getting in trouble, telling everybody to suck it.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. Well, we're glad to have you on. I've been a fan since about like 93, as soon as the Lex Express gimmick started happening. And Jay, I believe, a little bit before me. But yeah, so guys, we are going to jump into it. There is a lot to talk about tonight. Let me tell you, I almost had a heart attack at the end of Monday Night Raw. I kid you not. I thought I was going to come on here flipping out, but whew, deep breath. But I feel like a couple months came off my life after watching that end of Raw. Oh my gosh.
That was a good little swerve, though.
It was.
Get into that in just a short while. So WrestleMania 36, we had the WWE title match. Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. We have a brand new WWE champion. What did you guys think of this match?
I say thank the Lord. You know, everybody knows I am not a big Brock Lesnar fan. Never was, probably never will be. That, you know, with that saying, I'm always in for Paul Heyman. I mean, he could speak. I love hearing him speak. But get rid of Brock Lesnar. Thank you for getting that title off of him. I want to see the title on TV a lot more, and I want to see a long run for Drew McIntyre.
How about you, Cooper?
Same. Yeah, ever since Brock came back in 2012, again, you know, kind of squashing Cena there for a little bit. You know, it's been on his terms, and that's kind of rubbed a lot of people, including me, the wrong way. And he's kind of had a hall pass from Vince ever since then. So whether it was the Universal Championship, you know, that was Roman's big thing of getting it off of him and showing it on TV. Now it's the WWE Championship. And especially that ride that Kofi had last year, just to squash him in less than 10 seconds. That's absolute garbage how they did that. And then, again, you have a part-time champion now. So this was necessary. This is what was best for business. And I'm so glad he's not going to – he's going to be off TV for a little bit without a title.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I hope to God they don't work him back into a Money in the Bank match.
That's really very possible. You know how Vince goes.
That angered me last year with that whole suitcase stuff, but it was in a good way though. Like that was meant to piss people off. Then we had it kind of got a little funny after a while. Then we had the Universal title match. We had Braun Strowman challenging Bill Goldberg in a last-minute replacement of Roman Reigns.
It did what it needed to do. It gave Braun the title. Nobody wants to see Goldberg anymore. Same boat for me. Goldberg as Brock Lesnar. I'm just happy Braun has the title. He deserves it. A long time coming.
Absolutely. Cooper, how do you feel about Braun winning the title?
Same thing. Especially the way they squashed Braun for a long time. Like they teased for so long that he was going to get the Universal title, but anything against Brock, it didn't pan out to anything. And I was kind of scared at first whenever Goldberg started spearing him. I'm like, they're going to give him the screw job again, but they finally did the right thing for him.
Yeah, they finally did. If Braun Strowman were to lose that match last night, Saturday night rather, that would have been it for Braun Strowman. He would have been given the Big Show treatment for sure. Glad they did it. Hopefully, he does some good stuff with it, and I hope these new champions get a long title run. They deserve to be in front of a crowd. I want to see how these crowds react to our new champions that we have, especially on the men's side. After that, we had the NXT women's match, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, which quite possibly could have been one of the best matches of all of WrestleMania this year. What did you guys think of that? Brand new champion, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, for me, the match was fantastic. They can both work, as we all know. But again, I am tired of Charlotte Flair. I don't like the idea of Charlotte Flair winning an NXT championship. I don't like the idea of Charlotte Flair being in NXT. I think with a lot of these Raw and SmackDown superstars going to NXT, you're just flooding NXT with the same problems that you have with Raw and SmackDown. It's just my opinion. I would have much rather seen Rhea Ripley just keep carrying that title and just destroy that women's division. That's just my point of view.
How about you, Cooper? How did you feel about that title match?
Pretty much. I that kind of swerved me whenever they let Charlotte get the title, because why would she need to go back to NXT? I know the whole Wednesday night war is going on right now with Dynamite, and there are weeks where they're head-to-head in ratings and everything. So are they trying to make her the flagship of the war and everything? So it kind of threw me for a loop when she actually won it. So it confused me a little bit. It was a hell of a match. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they could work like nobody's business, and they told a good story, but it kind of, it didn't make sense why she won. So it's one of those that we have to let it unfold over the next month or so and see exactly how they tape things and where it's going to go.
See, but you say part of the Monday Night Wars. I mean, is there Wednesday Night Wars? Is there really a Wednesday Night Wars? Because NXT single-handedly destroys AEW in their women's segment every week, every single week. So is there really a need to bring a Charlotte Flair down for ratings?
True. I think it's the overall program itself. Whenever the ratings and the numbers get posted, it's usually AEW squeak, especially that 18 to 48 or 49 demographic. That's where their big score is and their big win. That's the big number they're looking at. Usually AEW's been squeaking by with it. Now the women's division, NXT is leaps and bounds above where AEW is right now. So they're still trying to work everything out. But I think the overall picture, I think that's just trying to be their big draw and getting the big name down there to try to help them get the numbers back up overall.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think Cooper's right. I think that's a big part of the reason because you still have a lot in the female division, great talent, but you still have developing talent down there. And who knows, Charlotte may need a break for a little while with the traveling. And also this may lead into more storytelling with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair as well. I was a little surprised that Charlotte won because Rhea Ripley's only had that belt for about 2 to 3 months. And Charlotte did not need the win. This would have definitely put Rhea Ripley to a little bit of a higher level. Who knows? There might be a plan for Rhea Ripley to come up to the main roster Friday night.
So in your opinion, does this hurt Rhea Ripley? Does it take any steam away from her?
Well, as we've seen for the past, typically people it could. But as we've seen from the past, people who drop the title in NXT usually signifies that they're about ready to come up. And Rhea Ripley's been in NXT and NXT UK now for 2 years, pushing 3 years just about. Yep. And I think Vince might be very high on her, despite the loss.
True.
Yep. Now, which gets me to the next match because I purposely lined this up in our show tonight. We had the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, in what I thought Shayna Baszler was going over because Becky has had that title for 1 year now. and they've made Becky Lynch awfully strong, especially in Elimination Chamber. I could have sworn that Shayna Baszler was going to go in this and dominate the match, but we did not see that last night. What did you guys think of this? Becky retaining the title.
My opinion, I think that really hurt Shayna Baszler. She has been dominant through NXT, and even on the main card, she's been fairly dominant. But what was it, maybe a 5 to 7 minute match, if that, and Becky goes over. I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's time to move on from Becky. I think the whole man thing and her whole persona, it's lost a lot of steam, and it's time for her to get reinvented. Some can argue that is this the right time, being that there aren't any crowds, that we're in like a weird time in history. Possible, but still, I think we need to move on from Becky. She's lost a lot of steam, and I think somebody else needs to hold that title.
Yeah, and it was all done in 8 minutes. 8 minutes.
Yeah. It just, to me, it really hurt Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, I mean, especially whenever this was the rumor going around, was this going to be one of the matches to close out night 1 or 2? And it was a letdown, very much so in that. And especially the way it ended, a little fluke reverse of the Kirifuda clutch. I mean, that's been done before. So they really didn't do anything unique. It wasn't jaw dropping. It when the match was done, I was just like, that's it. That's how you're going to end it, and how you're going to basically throw Shayna down the gutter a little bit. I mean, she absolutely wrecked through the Elimination Chamber and destroyed the entire women's roster to get to that spot, and she's done in less than 10 minutes.
Now, here's the problem, and this is why I'm talking about these women's matches back to back. Both NXT women lost.
True.
What does that say for the NXT women's division right now? That doesn't exactly help elevate the end. At least one out of the two should have won.
Right, I absolutely agree. That was kind of my
elevate the NXT women's division.
Right, and that was kind of my point. Even with Charlotte winning, is the women's divisions that they have down there. In my opinion, they do not need a Charlotte Flair. They don't need, they need to be winning. They need to be getting put over. They need to keep developing, especially if they want to continue on to the main brands. By, like you're saying, by having both NXT women lose, all that did was hurt NXT even more.
At least one of them would have lost, but let me tell you, if I would have had money on this, I would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
If I were a gambling man, I would have gambled on Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley retaining.
Yep.
Didn't see this coming with both of them losing.
Which I find very weird because
not good, Vince.
Yeah, like this Wednesday is the ladder match for the number 1 contender for the NXT Women's title. So are they trying to get one of those 6 to be the next big thing? Because they had the really 2 big names, and they royally screwed that up. So are they trying to start fresh? I really don't know what's in Vincent Hunter's mind right now.
Right, and if that's the case, then what is the point of having Charlotte as the interim champion?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense.
Now is usually around the time of the year where they kind of softly hit the reset button, with new feuds and call-ups and what have you. So it's just one of those things we're going to have to write out and see what they had planned. Hopefully it'll become a clearer picture after Friday night. But moving on, the Boneyard match, which I don't know why they couldn't just call it the Buried Alive match. Great visuals. I had a lot of fun watching it. Little hokey. I mean, come on. Like, who has fireworks set up during the match, and the whole Undertaker symbol? It was a cool visual, though. But what did you guys think of this?
I thought it was a greatly produced segment. I think for what we have to work with in today's environment, I thought it was set up perfectly. I thought it was shot perfectly. I thought it told a fantastic story. It definitely wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting another one of those Bray Wyatt projection type things, or a really bad version of the Hardy compound. But they actually did a really good job. It surprised me how good of a job they did with this match.
Yeah, this was my favorite match of the weekend, actually, because of the production, just their interaction during the match, and whenever they're smack talking during the entire time, and especially right before Taker drops him in, what's my wife's name? How old am I again? And he's like, I'm not gonna bury you, and then he just turns around and kicks him square in the grave. That's an Undertaker we haven't seen in years, and even like on Twitter and things like that, like American Badass was popping up everywhere because the dead man doesn't talk really,
Right.
but you're riding on a motorcycle with Metallica playing, and he's talking the whole time, and especially when the Druids came out and they circled him, he's like, "All right, that's how y'all want to do this," and just started a bare knuckle brawl with him. That was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I
Jeremy
think.
Borash from this too.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I really think this was the type of production that the Undertaker needed. It was able to mask his oldness, if you will, and his slowness, and really put on a fantastic show.
Mm-hmm. He took a couple hard bumps, and especially
We got
when
the
he was,
fire.
yeah, like whenever he was fighting Gallows and Anderson, and AJ just cracks him from behind, and whatever that was explodes on him. That had to hurt a little bit.
Right. And he still had, and they cut his arm open
AJ
on that
took some
window.
bumps.
Yeah, I actually thought
That
that
was
was fake at
legit.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was doctored at first, and he was like, "Ah, son of a," and just kept going with it.
And he played into it. It was almost like he looked at
He
it
broke
and he was like,
kayfabe there.
he gave a
He's
look at
like,
AJ while looking at his arm. And he was like, "Look what you made me do now. Now I have to get
Yeah.
serious." It was a great story.
yeah,
It was moving on to the Firefly Funhouse. I had went to Swell Taco in Patchogue. If you're ever near that area, best place to get tacos. But I could have sworn after watching this Firefly Funhouse, I thought that maybe they had put some drugs in my tacos or something. I felt like I was tripping out watching this segment. But it was
Yeah.
entertaining. Like a car crash you can't look away from.
yeah,
Yeah, it was something different, and honestly, I enjoyed it. It again wasn't what I expected, but it was something different. It was something to grasp my mind and be like, "Oh man, look at this thing! Like, what are they? All right, let's go with it."
I liked how
Yeah.
they like went in the past and they revisited WrestleMania 30. They revisited John Cena's early career. John Cena joining NWO.
yeah,
Yeah, somebody made the comment that Bray Wyatt wanted to beat every iteration of John Cena so that there was no excuses, and I thought it fit perfectly.
yeah. I think the big thing that Bray wanted to do with that, and I think the production, is how John always took the easy road so he could stay on top. That was their big thing, how he always played it safe, and that's why he didn't do the chair shot at WrestleMania 30. And I like the little jabs they did here there, especially whenever it was a ruthless aggression segment, and he just kept swinging at him. And Bray's like, "Oh, you can look, but you can't touch." That little jab, like the Bella
Yeah.
Twins.
Yeah.
I lost it when they did that. But the way they reversed the story of how John was the man at the top and how he almost got fired, but had the easy streak the rest of the way once he did the Doctor of Thugonomics. Whereas Bray, everybody knew he was ready for it. Everybody wanted him to do it, but John wouldn't do the chair shot because he knew that would just catapult him. So it
Right.
just kind of got into his psyche a little bit, in his mind. And I think that's the deeper story too that they wanted to tell with it. And I think as hokey and as cheesy as a lot of it was, which definitely, especially the Saturday night main event segment.
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh yeah, the makeshift mega powers, basically. Yeah, but I think when they delve deeper into it, that's when, especially the big wrestling fans like us who know the past history, it made a lot more sense whenever we were watching it and when you think back on it.
Right.
I appreciated it. I thought we were going to get a match. But either way, Bray Wyatt goes over.
Oh yeah,
Gets his win back.
Yeah, and that's the important thing, especially after the squash that he took. So, it's good to see him back on top.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious to wonder how much John Cena has left in the tank.
I think everybody was curious about number 17, but I think that's just no longer a thought in anyone's mind, really.
It might be. They might be just saving it for now.
Oh Lord.
I think
how
they're saving it.
Goldberg has one spear, one jackhammer, one title run left.
Yeah, that can't happen anymore. But Cena could still work, but he's probably rusty by now anyway. But I'm sure he can get back in ring shape, not a problem, and maybe do a couple matches part time or something.
As long as he cuts the hair.
He's got to cut the hair.
Oh my god, that
not for nothing. My hair is kind of getting a little long. No barbershops are open now.
Yeah, no kidding.
So John Cena gets a little excuse. He can't get to a barbershop right now.
At least he doesn't have the pompadour like Cooper's rocking right now.
Oh God! Actually, mine's not too far behind. Oh man! SmackDown Championship: Bayley versus Sasha versus Lacey Evans versus Naomi and Tamina. I think the wrong person won here. Should have been Lacey Evans because she's been pushing for quite a few months now. Bayley retains, leading into the Orton Edge last man standing, 37 minutes long, the longest match. I know.
Snoozer for me.
There were a couple cool spots, most of them towards the end.
Yes. Towards the end of the match, it started to pick up. I thought it was a great thing when they had the close-up of Edge when he was crying about to hit Randy with that chair shot. Other than that, I couldn't wait for it to be over. And I hate saying that because those are two Hall of Famers for sure. And I'm yawning through their match. That shouldn't be happening.
You could have taken 15 minutes off of that match, maybe even 20, and apply some of those minutes towards Becky and Baszler or the Raw Tag Team titles, which we won't talk about tonight. I'm not going to cover all 16 matches, but you could have done that.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, all the false counts and everything like that, and just some of the build up to some spots, they took way too long. It was for what content it was good, but they just drew it out way too long and just lost attention of people.
Yeah, I don't know if they were pacing that slow due to Edge's restrictions, but it was too slow. They needed to pick that up.
I mean, he jumped off the top of a truck through a table, so
that's true too.
I don't know what the situation was with that, but especially a lot of people got pissed off about that Chris Benoit spot with the weights and everything that he tied around his neck.
Oh, yeah, you know what? That didn't even click in my mind when I saw that.
Yeah, it did not click in my mind either.
Yeah, because when the dark side of the ring, they talked about finding Chris and everything, and they basically did the exact same thing. That rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I mean, if I put that together, I wouldn't have been rubbed the wrong way, but I'd been like, wow, that's a little, you want the guy erased from history, but then you're gonna pull a spot like that. Like, you can't have it both ways.
No. I'm hoping that they didn't do it intentionally, but
right, me too.
I didn't even catch it. I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah,
even a week after watching the documentary.
Yeah, that's the only reason it jumped out to me, because I just watched it, within the last few days, both parts of it finally.
Then we got Rob Gronkowski winning the 24/7. He is now a champion in WWE. How about that?
I'm happy it's just a 24/7 championship. I'll tell you that. I mean, I can't take him serious, and I don't know if I'm supposed to. Same thing with just tag teaming him with Mojo. Mojo's the same thing. I don't need to see them. I don't really care about them. Put that title back on R-Truth because he grabs my attention.
Yeah, R-Truth, he's made that title, if you want to even call it that, watchable. I mean, even though he's won it 37 times, that's a pretty close figure, I think. But, anyone else that's had it, it's just been blah. Riddick Moss had it. I didn't even know he had it for a while.
He had it for a couple weeks, and he was looking good with the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might do something with him eventually.
Yeah, and then R-Truth pins him on the side of a road on a Sunday afternoon.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite segments. But that's what I mean. Like, R-Truth is the only one that can make that title relevant. He's the only one. And, by those standards, a 37-time winner, he's the most decorated champion in WWE, and I love it.
He is. He is. Oh, man. But let me tell you, Rob,
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Freeze
Guess we
frame.
lost him.
And for those of you with the benefit of flash photography, here's your 7-second pose.
All right, you want to press on, I guess, with what came after. Wait,
There we go.
There he is.
There we go. We had a reload.
There we go. So Rob Gronkowski, he can talk. Let me tell you.
Poor Rob. He sounds like
He's
he
good
has
on
a
the
third
mic.
grade. He can, but sometimes he sounds like he's got a third grade education when he talks.
He's got to get away from our. He's got to get away from Mojo Rawley.
Yes, agreed.
That can't last long.
No.
But WWE brought him in for the publicity. I mean, and it did its job. I mean, my dad came up to me earlier this evening. He's like, "Yeah, I heard Rob Gronkowski is in the WWE. Won a belt last night." So he had to have heard that on the news. I know he doesn't follow WWE, so it had to have been on SportsCenter or Channel 7 Sports or something. Well, that's our main news channel up here, ABC. But so basically, that covers WrestleMania. One more match, and I don't even know why I'm talking about this. Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. Did I call that, Jay, or did I call that? Did we call that?
We call that. I am so happy my boy Otis finally got over.
Yeah.
He not only got over with the win, but he got over with the girl. I'm so happy.
I know.
It was a reverse WrestleMania 20.
It's one of those that tugs on the heartstrings. It's like, poor guy. It's like he just wanted the girl, and Dolph is just being a dick.
Yeah.
There's no other way I could put that.
But I did like the way they set it up with Sonya Deville being the mastermind behind all of it. I thought that definitely made it interesting.
Oh yeah, when she came out there and just started wailing on her.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, we called it. You guys heard it here first. So I was quite happy with that prediction.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I just gotta learn how to do the worm now.
Who's under the hood? Who's under that black hood? Some people were saying Mustafa Ali. I was thinking, I don't know, maybe like a Jinder Mahal, some kind of evil character like that. Killer Cross. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Oh, that's possible. I mean, Killer Cross is still a free agent, so
yeah,
it's possible. Brian Cage is also a free agent, so maybe he's deciding to come over.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell from what we've had 2 vignettes now. Is it?
Yeah, I think that was the 2. I don't remember what the first one was.
It was very vague. Like I don't even think you saw the figure at all on the first one.
Oh, did he have his back turned? Like in a chair or something, or
I think the second one was the one with the back. The first one I think was just like flashes and everything like that, but no actual figure. This one was a little more. You could see something, but it's still kind of hard to tell who it is.
Is that where he was sitting at the computer with all the matrix screens?
Yeah,
that one. Yeah, that's tough because with them sitting down like that, you can't really make out a body type or anything or height.
Yeah.
But it could be Killer Cross. I mean, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they're doing some kind of angle like this on SmackDown. SmackDown needs like a good angle, bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it is like we could get a new female wrestler in there, because that SmackDown Women's Title match did not have my attention. The division hasn't had my attention at all for a long time. It's just been boring and stagnant.
Agreed.
Getting back to that, the SmackDown women's division on that side, I feel is a little stale, needs some shaking up, for sure. It would have been nice to see Lacey win, but I think this is where Rhea Ripley ends up. Hopefully it gives SmackDown a shot in the arm, but I guess we won't find out till Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope that's what their plan is for Rhea. I can't really blame Bayley for being a terrible champion. I don't think Lacey would be a better champion. I think Lacey still has a lot of work to do in her wrestling. I still think she's pretty sloppy. She messes up quite a bit, and her ring psychology isn't that great, in my opinion. So I don't think it's time for her, which is why I think they've left it on Bailey as long as they have. So hopefully Rhea Ripley can come up and she'll be the one to take it from her.
Where she's one of the bigger and more stout girls, she's a little stiff too.
Right.
So some of her shots look like she doesn't really do them right. Especially when she hit Sasha last night. I thought she broke her damn jaw at first.
Right.
Sasha deserves it anyway. She's not that nice.
Yeah, she's a little bit of a crybaby anyway. So, yeah, send her out for good.
There is one lady that I had my eye on this weekend, including tonight, who has most improved big time leading into our review of Monday Night Raw, the night after Mania. Supposed to be the biggest night of the year. Tonight didn't feel like it could be the biggest night of the year, but we got a fairly decent show nonetheless. The whole storyline was Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton hyping up the fact that Drew McIntyre had shocking occurrence after WrestleMania, which they were gonna they kept on putting off until the end of the night, which we'll get to a little bit later. But the first segment, Asuka versus Liv Morgan. Let me tell you, I am getting pissed off watching Asuka on TV. She has got to calm down already. This is getting ridiculous. And this was not the way to start Monday Night Raw either. But Liv Morgan.
See, I like Liv Morgan, but I still think she's a bit sloppy.
Liv Morgan has improved. I feel like her movements are a little more fluent. She had more of an unorthodox style in NXT, and even when she first came up to WWE. She's definitely improved. And yeah, Jay, definitely she needs a lot of work. But I feel like I saw a lot of improvement. I really haven't seen Liv Morgan in the ring too much, but I saw something tonight for sure.
Yeah, she's definitely getting better, but she's still sloppy. She's still having botch after botch. But yeah, she is getting better. Tonight she did is one of her better matches, but I think she still had one or two botches in there. One of which she was supposed to have a roll up attempt on Asuka, and she just slipped. Didn't really grab her right. So I mean, it's those kind of things that stick out for me.
Yeah, she was always the lower of the three from the Riot Squad. So
right.
Ruby was obviously the most talented. Sarah was next, but Liv was just kind of there. So I think that after Ruby got hurt and everybody split, I think it helped her, but it also doesn't help that her storyline that she got back into, the Rusev, Liv, Lashley, Lana thing, that got squashed immediately.
Yeah.
Right. Agreed.
So, yeah, so, I mean, she was just kind of left out in the dust of, okay, where do we go from here now? So she really hasn't had a reason to, I wouldn't say not train, but get her next storyline going and learning how to work with that next person.
Right, and I believe she was also injured for a little while, which was part of the hiatus. So, I mean, look, I get it. She's one of the greener wrestlers that they have, which I think is why they're putting her with like an Asuka or somebody of that caliber, just to kind of help break her in and help with their ring psychology, sort of like how they utilize Natty. I don't know, but we'll see. Hopefully she has the talent. If not, I mean, that's somebody I would send back down to NXT.
Yeah.
Why did Raw have to start this way, though? Asuka, the first thing I have to see when Monday Night Raw starts, the night after WrestleMania of all nights.
Come on, you love Asuka. You love all of her moves and antics.
The dancing around, the screaming. I don't know what. Oh,
the Mrs. Tajiri.
Good. Good match. Asuka with the nasty Asuka lock from behind.
You knew that was going to happen.
Absolutely. There were a lot of squash matches tonight. Interview with Becky Lynch. And basically, she leaves the door open for Shayna Baszler for possibly another match after that. then following that quick segment by Becky, they cut back to Shayna Baszler backstage, saying the thrill of victory, and for you, I promise you the agony of my defeat. So that tells me that Shayna is looking for a return match, probably a Money in the Bank. And what did you guys think of this segment? I thought this was kind of one of Shayna's better segments.
Yeah, it was definitely one of her better segments. Again, I'm still on the fence of, what I want to do with her. I don't know if I like her or not yet. This promo, I thought it was good for what it was.
Great camera work.
Yeah, although I'm not a real big fan of the extreme close-ups, but it got his point across.
Yeah, when it's done at the right time.
Right.
Yeah,
How about you, Cooper? Any thoughts?
Shayna, her promos can be hit or miss because a lot of times it could just be screaming and yelling like she does, like when she gets all amped up and hyped and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of loses the overall feeling of it because it's just one set tone throughout the entire time. But if they are leading up to Money in the Bank, I really hope they're not pulling like a Batista Triple H and it's just going to be Batista wins, Batista wins, Batista wins. And it's like, okay, we know what to expect again.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens as the next couple weeks. Then we got a return match of the Raw Tag Team Titles: Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Austin Theory. We see Vega interfere. Garza and Theory get disqualified. Vega gets in the ring, and Montez Ford is now outnumbered. And then out comes Bianca Belair once again for a second straight night in a row, which tells me she is on the main roster now. She comes out and clears the ring. Belair announces she is now the EST of WWE, calls out Selena Vega. We get a match with Belair and Vega. That match gets thrown out, and then it goes to a 6-man tag. This was about 4 segments long. Belair gets the win. What did you guys think of all this?
I think they should have just started with the 6-man tag because you knew that's where it was going. Especially seeing Zelina come out already dressed in ring gear, you knew she was going to get some action. You knew that Bianca Belair was going to come out and interfere. You knew it was eventually going to be a 6-man tag. Just started with a 6-man tag. It just took up a lot of time to really get nowhere, in my opinion.
I agree because you know what the how they got to the 6-man tag is basically how their segment on WrestleMania ended. So they could have just led right with the 6-man tag, no problem.
Right, but instead they drew it out. And again, I understand you have to fill some time due to the environment that we're in. I get it, but with that one particularly, like you just saw the writing on the wall. You knew what was going to happen. Just send it, man. Just start there and then build the story from there.
Honestly, I don't even think the environment had a single thing to do with it. That's the issue of being a 3-hour show. Of you have to fill segments, and you have part 1, then there's part 2, here's part 3, and here's the 4th one finally. Even before, the tape and going to the performance center, they would do stuff like this all the time for singles matches. Well, guess what? It turned into a tag match. Oh, we got a commercial break in the middle of this tag match. So it's typical Monday Night Raw storyline time and how they just have to fill 3 hours, and it's just a royal pain to watch.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I've seen worse. Good in-ring action. Just to talk about Garza really quick, I think he's a huge star. Justin Theory. Did I say that right?
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory, sorry. Austin Theory, good wrestler. Hopefully he gets to unleash his potential that he did involve in NXT. I'm not too sure if I'm connecting with his persona yet, but I guess only time will tell. He's only 22 years old.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time and plenty of talent.
I think he's on the main roster now too.
Right. Yeah, like I said, he's got plenty of time, plenty of talent. Go and evolve. I mean, he was fantastic in Evolve. So he's got a great basis to start with. So he's only going to get better from here. And then Garza, as I was watching Garza tonight, I don't know if you guys caught this connection, but he looks like a reinvented Chavo Guerrero for me. just his movements, his mannerisms, the way he looks. I feel like he's Chavo Guerrero 2.0.
I can see that.
Yeah, a lot of people were comparing him to like an Eddie Guerrero type of wrestler, so that's pretty close.
But I will say, I mean, the Street Profits, they're entertaining. They're fun to watch. I like Montez. Dude can fly like nobody's business, and Dawkins, for as big as he is, he can move pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. They since they came up, they've had my attention. I like the way they work. I like the way they tell the stories. I like the mannerisms that they add into their matches. I think it creates the whole dynamic. I'm a fan of them.
Even though if Montez almost died last week, but
Oh
glad he's
my
back.
goodness, that oh my god, I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
All you hear is a splat.
Yeah, I wonder how that went over backstage.
Apparently, they're fine with it since they didn't make him drop the titles.
I wonder if
Yeah, but
that
it
was
wasn't
a
there.
planned spot.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it was a planned spot. I think Austin Theory just messed up the spot.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then when Montez Ford sent it, man, there's nobody there to catch him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Montez Ford is slowly developing into a big star. I could definitely see singles breakout. Not yet, but eventually. I think the Street Profit tag team has a lot of legs under it for now. And I think Montez Ford is going to be something special. I think we're seeing something special. There's a funny dude. He had me laughing tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Moving on to Bobby Lashley. He gets interviewed. He says it's about time he needs a new manager or a new wife. So it looks like they're going to be going into a different direction there. He's dejected from last night's loss because Lana, as you guys may remember, interfered, causing Lashley to eventually lose to Aleister Black. Aleister Black kicking his head off and getting the win. So I'm kind of glad that this is going to end. And then the funny thing is, the next segment we have Aleister Black versus Mini Lashley. I like to call him Apollo Crews. Let me tell you, this was some match. Half hour, nonstop. I love this.
Yeah, I think it's about time that they gave Aleister Black something to do other than squashing local talent. I thought it was a fantastic match. Both Apollo Crews and Aleister Black can go, and I'm glad we finally were able to see it. We were able to enjoy it. Because last night's Lashley match did nothing for me. I mean, I thought Lashley looked great. It looks like he's trimmed down and he's at the same time put on some muscle. So I think it's time for him to kind of move away from Lana and start, a regular solo singles run. But yeah, I was happy to see Aleister Black finally wrestle somebody with some credibility.
And honestly, at this point, I think it's set in stone, as if it hasn't been said already. Lana is not that good at pretty much everything.
Agreed.
I mean, her promos are awful. Her wrestling isn't that good. I mean, she's just a face that's there. And it's time to move on from her.
With this storyline unfolding, Lana could very well be on her way out.
True.
That's very true.
Because I think Rusev, I don't think Rusev is re-signing. I think he's 1 foot out WWE and 1 foot in the AEW.
I think that's why that Liv Morgan storyline got squashed as quickly as it did.
It was getting a bad reaction. The only good it was doing is because it was getting so many hits over in Europe on YouTube, because people watching on TV over there in certain parts aren't allowed to see segments like they were doing on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still, of course, access it on YouTube, and it was getting so many hits. So WWE saw that as like a success in a way. So they were kind of dragging it out for a while, but it had to be squashed. It wasn't really that great. It was a train wreck, but one of those train wrecks you couldn't look away from.
Right.
Yeah. It was a horrendous storyline. I'm so glad it's over. And I hate to say it because I don't like to see anybody kind of lose their job, but like you said, Coop. I mean, Lana. Speaking of Lana, she is not good at anything. She cannot talk. She cannot wrestle. She cannot manage. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what else you do with her.
They were
And a
better than
Russian.
their original gimmick.
And nobody bought her as a Russian person.
No, although she still has the accent with certain words, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, the rolling those hard R's. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah, that she just sucks. No other way to put it.
Apollo's best match in WWE. Do you guys agree?
I do agree.
Yeah, I can't think of any others that he met an equal. That
4
he played so
segments
perfectly.
long. 4 full segments, half an hour, I think it was.
My money's worth.
Oh, absolutely. It showed what he can do. That it almost brought it back to when he was in Evolve, and the matches used to put on in Evolve. It was very athletic. It told a good story. I digged it. I like it.
Yep.
Hey, listen, if WWE is going to be persistent on doing 3-hour shows, at least give these guys time to watch and show what they can do in the ring.
Absolutely.
And they did that tonight.
And especially in this climate, like
I was Apollo Crews was going to lose in 5 minutes.
Yeah, but especially in this climate, putting on shows like that and matches like that with no crowd reaction to feed off of, I mean, I thought he killed it.
Did you notice that there wasn't as much dead silence as there was a night or two ago in the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, they definitely
was a little better tonight.
Yeah, although their commentary doesn't really keep me interested, but at least they're a background noise.
I like Phillips. I like him on Raw. It's still fresh, but they kept the conversations going, and that kind of distracted me from keeping in the back of my mind and thinking about how there's an empty arena. So I thought they did good filling in the sound tonight. Overall, better than some points at Mania. Michael Cole and JBL just not good. Moving on, Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, new tag team formed. What do you guys think of this?
It's good to see Ricochet on TV.
Yeah.
And Cedric Alexander, they're both very athletic performers. It's new. I like to see where it goes.
Yeah, they got to find the right dynamic. You got two smaller guys, so you have to have the buy-in of them being able to make a team and be champions, especially when you've got massive guys like the Viking Raiders out there. How can they make it work? Do what?
Where have they been? Viking
That's
Raiders?
A good question.
It could have been something with Corona.
Possibly.
Or they're on vacation.
They could be on vacation going on a Viking tour somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, you're being a tag team that's combined, 315 pounds, basically. You got to have the buy-in that they can work with the big guys, too, and get the win. So they have to build it for a long time.
But in fairness, I mean, you still had the B team that carried titles. You had
I forgot about that. Dear God.
Yeah, Ryder and Hawkins. So, I mean, it's possible that with these smaller teams you can make it believable, if you will. It just depends on are they going to go the comedy route? Are they trying to go against the big guy route? I think it really depends on who you pair them with, because you pair them with the Usos, I think that'll be a fantastic program.
Yeah.
I think this is going to end up eventually Cedric Alexander Ricochet against Street Profits. Give it a pay-per-view too. Maybe by summer. That would make a great SummerSlam match. Actually,
it would. But
all those guys can work.
I think if you have a couple singles matches just to get the feel for it, if they can learn each other, kind of like the Usos and New Day, I think you can have a good pay-per-view level match with that.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. So they went on to face Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch in their debut match, and they pick up the win. So let's see where it goes the next couple of weeks. Just a little concerning to me still how Ricochet was off TV all these weeks, especially coming off of a title match against Brock Lesnar, which in my opinion is a big spot, regardless where the match is done. And then just to be down to 205 and then doing this. He's definitely sunk quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely rubbed somebody the wrong way.
Yeah, if I were Ricochet, I would have taken that number one contenders, position they put him in as kind of a slap in the face, because there's not a snowball's chance they were going to let anyone get that title from Brock at Super Showdown before WrestleMania.
They could have at least gave Ricochet the chance to have some offense in there, like they did with Brock versus Finn, Brock versus Ray, Brock versus AJ. You easily could have had, but Ricochet rather was squashed big time.
Oh yeah, just the way they did Kofi.
Yeah, true.
Kevin Owens promo talking about getting focused and that he's going to keep fighting because this is now the Kevin Owens show. I got a question for you guys. With Money in the Bank looming, do you think KO is going to be the candidate to win Money in the Bank this year?
It's definitely possible. I think it's smart to keep KO in a limelight like that. Somebody that can talk and somebody that can wrestle. They can deliver in anything he does, pretty much. I would love to see him carry that Money in the Bank. Just more KO, the better, in my opinion.
Kevin Owens has that CM Punk vibe to him where he's got the mouth, he's got the moves, but he's not a bad guy, but at the same time, he's not face either.
Yeah, he's a tweener.
Like he can speak to both demographics or both people who like it one way or the other. So whether you want that Kevin Owens that's just going to slap you across the face, whether you like it or not, which, by the way, that match against him and Seth, and especially the jumping off the sign spot, I've never seen a fat guy fly like that before, and it was awesome.
Yes, that was one of my favorite spots of the weekend.
Yeah.
That was at least 20 feet.
Absolutely.
Oh, God, yeah. But, he needs to be in that Money in the Bank ladder match and, still be in, that not necessarily the main event picture, because he can do it. He's been there before. But at least, right there in contention for it. I don't know if they're going to run with Seth and Drew, but Kevin and Drew, I'd be fine with that program.
Yeah, I agree.
That could happen. They might go Seth and Drew. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I still don't have a clear answer, especially after what we saw tonight, where it's going to head. I think they're going to get away from KO and Seth's program. I think that program is done. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Then we see Seth Rollins comes out. He's all pissed off from Saturday night. There's nobody with him, so he's just solo. And he gets a squash match against Denzel Desjardins. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me with this. This is ridiculous. He's a trainee from NXT. He's probably been in the indie scene somewhere. I don't know. But I knew this wasn't good for him. I'm not even going to talk about this anymore. Seth Rollins gets the win by curb stomp. Moving on, we get the return of Nia Jax. Return from double knee surgery. This gives Raw a little bit more of a shot in the arm because we haven't seen Nia in a little while.
Okay, but do you really want to see Nia? Is that somebody that you were fiending to see? Because that wasn't for me.
You have to have her with the right tango partner, to be honest. You could always go to David Goliath, the storylines, and it usually works pretty well. But we haven't seen her in a while, and I'm sure I'll be sick of her in about a month or two. But she looked like she was moving around pretty good. Poor Deonna Purrazzo. She's one of my favorites. And she got fed. She got fed to Nia Jax.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm going with is, all right, you bring her back, but why feed her one of the smallest women on the roster? If you want her to come back looking like a monster, put her up against somebody that's somewhat of a worthy opponent.
Yeah, have her, or like Becky should have been out to the ring for a promo, and Nia just comes out of nowhere and just beats the living daylights out of her.
Right.
That would have been good too if WWE wasn't so stuck on further along the Shayna Baszler experiment.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like whenever NXT went live last year, and you had Finn Balor show up at the beginning of the show to Adam Cole, and Ciampa shows up right at the end to look at Adam Cole. So I mean, it's kind of one of those you're looking at. So Becky's Adam with Shayna and Nia on each side of her.
Yeah, that would have been way better than what they did tonight.
Yeah.
Nia Jax wins, squashes Deonna Purrazzo in about 3 minutes. Deonna Purrazzo is one of my favorites. I felt bad, but Nia Jax wins with a pretty tough DDT. Deonna Purrazzo takes it right on the head. 1, 2, 3, match over. Moving on, really quick, we got Humberto Carrillo versus Brendan Vink from NXT. That was basically the last match until this is what I wanted to talk about. I almost had a heart attack. And Cooper, let me tell you, I texted Jay at 10:48. Like, no way. Like, this cannot be happening. The way that Phillips hyped this up the entire night, saying the shocking events that took place after WrestleMania went off the air, we will show you tonight. They kept on dragging it along. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So we see Drew McIntyre in the ring. So if you guys are watching this at home or you guys are gonna watch it tomorrow, I would suggest you shut off this podcast right now until you watch the match. Spoiler alert coming up right now. All right. So Drew McIntyre is in the ring in an interview talking about his win, showing off his new plates. I am very happy for Drew McIntyre, new champion. He looked great with the belt tonight. Then, out of nowhere comes the big show. And with Todd Phillips, the way they built this up the whole night, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This can't be happening. And talking about shocking. So we knew something was up. Big Show approaching Drew McIntyre. They go back and forth. Big Show coming out with the ref, challenging Drew. And oh my gosh, I thought Drew McIntyre was losing the title. I'm thinking to myself, how could they do this?
Yeah, my question is, one, why are they going to give the title to Big Show? And honestly, the way they started the segment with Drew coming down the ramp, I was fully expecting Brock to run out in this rage and just start waylaying on him and just kill him. That's what I thought they were going to do with it.
I thought that too.
Yeah, that's what I also thought. I thought Brock was going to come back and just destroy him, especially since, as I noted, it was 30 minutes post match. So I really thought it was gonna just come out and just beat him down. But to see the Big Show come out, I thought it was great because it gave off kind of a like a trainer's vibe, just the way he was talking to him. You want to be a champion? This is how you be a champion. This is what you need to do to be a champion. This is how you retain your championship. So I thought I thought it was great.
I was cringing the whole time. I thought, like, all was back in my head is Drew going to really lose the title here? WWE cannot do this. Like, this can't happen. I was glued to my TV. It was worth the wait.
Oh, yeah. I was confused as all get out at first because Big Show's like, I don't want to challenge you for your title. Right. And then he slaps him across the face. They ring the bell, and Phillips is like, oh, this is for the WWE Championship. I'm like, where did that come from?
And the way they were hyping it is shocking. I thought in my mind that Drew was losing the title because it was already pre-taped, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think Drew was in any danger of actually losing, but
he should not lose for a long time.
Right.
And if he does lose, I would space it out to SummerSlam or Survivor Series. Have him drop the belt, win the Rumble again, and give him his moment at WrestleMania 37, where I will be next year.
Yeah, I'll be fine with that. You know, I'll definitely be fine with that.
There will not be another T-shirt like this. This is not happening next year.
I wasn't there.
It's not happening next year. And Drew, Rhea Ripley, they deserve WrestleMania moments next year. Especially
Agreed.
Drew. Especially Drew.
Agreed.
For sure.
So that basically wraps up Monday Night Raw. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack there, and I thought I was gonna lose it.
Yeah, that had the stomach rolling for a minute. That Vince was going to pull the trigger and do that and just punch everybody square in the face like he's done before.
He would do that, and especially the night after WrestleMania. You know, who knows what would have happened? And the way they built it up, I thought for sure that Drew was getting screwed there.
Well, you've got your post WrestleMania moments, but this isn't the one. I mean,
Thank God.
the only real big post WrestleMania Raw moment I can think of is when Ziggler cashed in on Del Rio.
I was there.
Because that place absolutely exploded.
Yeah.
That was a hot crowd the whole night, man.
Oh, God, yes.
Fandango, that chant. Oh my goodness, that was
all the
a hot
videos
crowd.
of everybody on the subway Fandango in after WrestleMania.
Oh, I will. That was a good reminder. I'll never, ever forget that. Jersey generally is a very, very hot crowd, especially the days of when they went to Izod. Moving on, we are about to wrap up the show, but we need to touch on one more thing. We have the AEW TNT title coming up, the tournament this Wednesday. M and I, we discussed AEW in somewhat length last Wednesday night after our post show.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the tournament. I want to hear what you guys have to say. It looks like the first round match correct me if I'm wrong. The first round match that we're going to see first is Shawn Spears versus Cody. And I think they announced Kip Sabian versus Dustin this Wednesday.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
So the brackets are on one side, Cody and Shawn Spears, and Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. On the other side, we got Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes, and facing the winner of Lance Archer and Colt Cabana. So I want to ask you guys, who wins this tournament and becomes a TNT title holder?
I think it's got to be either. I think it's got to be Colt Cabana, to be honest with you. I think it has to be. Because if we take it back to when Colt Cabana was in NWA, he won the television title there as well. So I think just to carry that over, being that they essentially took him from NWA to bring him to AEW, why not give him back his television title?
That is a very, very interesting. Cooper, what do you have to say about this?
I don't know. Part of me thinks Lance Archer will end up in the final at least. Something tells me they're going to do a push for Darby Allin because he's gained a lot of momentum recently, and not the biggest of guys. The little punk skater kid and everything. He's had some good matches in AEW. So I think they're going to kind of treat the David. I can see a David and Goliath sort of thing here. Lance is a big dude. I mean, he's what, 6'9", 6'10"?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I almost feel like Darby Allin's at this point, he's a little too big for a television title. And that's kind of my issue with this is that because he's been putting on fantastic matches, he's kind of above a mid-card kind of run, but he's not ready for the main title yet.
I think
it's weird.
He's on the cusp.
For the main title?
I think he's right just about there. Almost
I think once they run through their big names of who they want to carry the title, right? Because they had Jericho and now they have Moxley. I think it's gonna again pass to somebody in the elite. I think once they're done with that crowd, then I'll start coming down to the Jimmy Havocs, the Darby Allins, just for a switch in momentum. But again, I think even Jimmy Havoc, I think he's too big for a television title. I think that's more suited for a Colt Cabana type just somebody of that caliber, because I don't ever see Colt Cabana carrying that main title.
Yeah, I mean, or guys like Cody and Dustin, I think they're just faces to throw in there, the big names
Right.
for it. I mean, I can kind of see Sammy in there because he's the super young guy. But again, that's another guy who's been on television, a guy who's had some good spots on TV. So is he too big for it at that point too?
I think he's actually a good fit for that, because then you have, let's just say Jericho wins back the title from Mox, and then you can have Sammy Guevara carry the television title, and then you can get the old LAX to carry the tag titles, and now Inner Circle's got the gold.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Sammy Guevara's got star written all over him, by the way.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going to be a major player eventually. So they have planted some seeds here. There was a little dissension between Cody and Darby Allin last week, so they planted the seed there. So I can actually see them using this tournament to have another match. So I got Cody and Darby Allin advancing to the semifinals. On the other side, I'm gonna have to say Dustin Rhodes and Lance Archer are gonna, because I think they had a conference like looking at each other like weirdly, really quick, not in a good way. But I can see Dustin and Lance Archer getting a win there, going to the finals. You could do Darby Allin versus Lance Archer. I think there's a little bit more of a story going on with Cody and Lance Archer, though, with Jake the Snake being the mouthpiece of Lance Archer, constantly calling Cody out, and Cody saying no, for whatever reason. I think this is the way you get there using the tournament. Cody Rhodes versus Lance Archer, with Lance Archer winning the TV title. I don't think Lance Archer takes the loss this soon.
I think that's possible, but remember, they also have a program brewing between Kip Sabian and Colt Cabana, and that's why I could see a Colt Cabana kind of running through this.
It could go that way. As long as it makes sense for the opponent in the final, which I can't really think of anything that would make sense right now for Colt Cabana to face on the other side of the bracket. That's the only concern I have with that. The first round makes sense, absolutely.
Right.
Or get into the semifinals. They could go a different route and do like a Kip Sabian against Darby Allin, but I think they've been putting a lot of stock into Cody and Lance Archer. I think they're using this tournament to get there. Again, I could be wrong, but it's probably the clearest picture that I can see.
But again, that's all predicated on if Cody actually goes over, because the way I've seen this past year, AEW using Cody's not hogging wins, right? He's taken losses where he's supposed to take the losses. So why not elevate a Shawn Spears a little bit, and have him go over, right? Because that's the first matchup, right? It's Cody Shawn. Yeah. So why not have Cody put over Shawn just to get him into that somewhat of a title run, and then after the tournament, you can then run the Lance Archer Cody program. That's the route I would go, because you could use the big names to help launch who those mid carders would be just by having them in the tournament, and then you can still run those side programs.
You definitely could do that, as long as you find a good way to get there.
Right.
Why not? Just so we'll see what happens that tournament. So here, this is what I was thinking for Shawn Spears. If they're not going to give him a title, he's been looking for tag team partners. Why not put him with the Elite? I'm sorry. That didn't make sense.
I was going to say, yeah.
Inner Circle. Why not put him with the Inner Circle?
Yeah, I was going to say,
tag with Sammy Guevara a little bit. Do a little tag in, do a little singles run right within the Inner Circle.
Or do you put him in a death triangle and make it a death rectangle?
Yeah.
It's possible. True. I think he could fit there. He's got that dark streak in him, and I think he could run well with Neville or Pac, or whatever he calls himself these days.
There is definitely possibilities for Shawn Spears for sure. Absolutely. I see a couple things. And the TNT title is gonna, it'll be something for the mid carders to do. So that's why I think they brought it in. But yeah, so that tournament starts this Wednesday night. So after watching Raw tonight, how do you think they did in the empty arena?
I thought they did fairly well. I think they're getting better with it with each show that's passing.
They got a little better tonight, noticeably.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was almost on the same level as AEW as far as production goes.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, they've learned how to adapt to it, because the WWE wrestlers feed off of the energy from the crowd, and they can call some things on the fly, especially the older wrestlers, based off of what they're getting on the feedback. But I think they're learning production as well, what they need to do, especially Paul Heyman on Monday. The guy's a genius, and he knows what to do if anything needs to be changed or tweaked. So he's learned how to adapt to that as well.
Many people have said that the recordings and these tapings should stop and that these wrestlers should take a break for a month or two and start fresh and hit the reset button in June, maybe, or when Money in the Bank comes around, if everything's clear by then. I am a little iffy on that. As a wrestling fan, seeing content gives me something to do on basically the last 3 nights.
So I would run it. I would run it the way Impact kind of runs their program, right? So they run in like a season. They pre-tape everything so that they can give their wrestlers time off. But you, as a fan, never see that break in time. So I think taping is the way to go at this point in time. Get it, tape as many shows as you can, roll them out over the weeks. That way, you're not beating up your wrestlers essentially for the locker room.
You mean like how NXT used to be?
Right, exactly.
I think the only issue.
Oh, by the way, Cooper, do you follow the NXT UK?
Somewhat, yeah.
So if you follow the show that took place on 3/12 and 3/19, you'll see me on TV the whole time.
No kidding?
Yeah, I was up in London for the NXT UK, like basically right where all the wrestlers come out.
Yeah.
There's only like 5 or 6 rows, but I'm on the cam side. You see me with a black Brooklyn written all over my chest. You see me the whole night every time a wrestler comes out. Man, this basically went on for 2 weeks. So
nice.
you get, I don't know, Jay. I don't know if I told you about that either, but you guys may get a charge out of that if you happen to be watching.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely take a look.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts, guys?
No, I thought overall it was a good weekend. It was an okay post-Mania show for me. But again, I don't really care. Give me all the content. I'm greedy. Feed me.
Yeah, same here. I mean, for what they had to work with, I mean, this technically was probably one of the better Manias in the last 10 years when you look at all of them put together. I mean, the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse, those are things you can't do live at all. I mean, especially all the production they did and costume changes and just looks and whatnot and sets. But, you had some good matches in there. Some of them went on a little bit too long. Edge and Orton, that was a good match if it was in the right time frame. Same thing with Charlotte and Rhea. Those were good. But, your big titles, your Raw Women's title, your WWE title, and your Universal title were all just squash matches, basically less than 10 minutes. And you expect something to be drawn out from that. So that was a little disappointing, but everything else, I think it was a good overall weekend considering the facts.
They didn't do much on Monday night. Good matches, but they didn't do much to further storylines.
Yeah.
We saw their appearance in Nia Jax, Belair, a couple fresh faces. They made Drew look amazing. So we'll see where we go. It looks like it's going to be a slow build to Money in the Bank. And who knows? They may have decided not to quite go all in on tonight's Monday Night Raw because maybe there's the uncertainty where they may have to take a few weeks off. So we didn't really see any new feuds develop like we usually do. So we'll see what happens there over the next week or two. I'll be listening closely. AEW is for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, AEW is ready to go for a while. I did see someone pointed something interesting out during that Drew McIntyre segment of never has anybody had to defend the WWE title within minutes of winning it. And somebody posted a picture of Yokozuna and said, "Remember me?"
That's true. But let me tell you, this WrestleMania, I can't, this doesn't go down as the worst WrestleMania. I think this was better than WrestleMania 9, better than 11, maybe better than 13.
Yeah, it by far was not
5.
It's by far not the worst WrestleMania for sure.
I mean, it's in the lower tier of maybe the lower 50 percentile. I'll have to say that. But definitely not in like the bottom 5, I don't think.
No, this isn't a WrestleMania 2, that's for sure.
Not your typical WrestleMania, and this is the one that is going to probably stick out for a lifetime. One more thought. How do you guys feel about 2 nights WrestleMania going forward? Do you think that WWE will pull the trigger on this? I thought it worked.
Yeah, I like the idea because, especially when you're there live, you're not getting burnt out of 8 hours of wrestling because, I mean, that tends to happen, right? So by the time you get through the middle of the event, like you're just smoked from just so much content. So the 2 nights, I think it's a great idea. You break it up, you space it out. I think it gives the fans in attendance, a little bit of a refresher to be able to come back the next day and ready to go again.
Yeah, I'll say this. Me and Ken Kiefer were at WrestleMania last year in New Jersey. And whenever you're getting in there at like 4:30 in the afternoon and getting your seat, and your main event is going on at 12:30 at night, you're drained, you're already hungover because they've stopped serving alcohol. It's 1:00 in the morning, you're trying to get to the bus, your voice is gone because you're screaming from other matches. That was way too long of a pay-per-view last year, and the audience is just drained, and you couldn't have the energy you wanted to watch Becky become Becky Two Belts.
Yeah. My only concern is ticket prices next year. They might do some bundle price. Maybe they give you an option for one night or the other. But then somebody brought up the idea of, we're not going to know what's going to be on the card that Saturday and what's going to be on the card this Sunday. How do we know if we want to go to Saturday more than Sunday? If we can only afford one. But then again, this has been like this for the last 36 years. You don't know what the wrestling card is going to be until a month out, and you buy your ticket 6 months early. There's no difference.
Right.
I wasn't expecting Brock Lesnar to be the opening match last year either.
No, I didn't expect that.
That's why I do the smart thing and I stay home.
Yeah, that's kind of a good call.
Yeah, I loved Orlando. And then 34, I decided to stay home because it was New Orleans again. I didn't want to go back there so soon. 35 is a given there. And then, this year, the whole I wasn't there thing. So hopefully nothing happens like this next year. I think sooner than later we're gonna get a 2-night WrestleMania, and hopefully a WrestleMania in London would be nice. It's a great city. They deserve WrestleMania. But alrighty, guys, that wraps up our show. Cooper, thank you so much for hopping on, JD, once again. This is now our 3rd week in a row doing this. Hopefully we keep that going for everybody that may have popped their head in tonight or will watch over the next couple days. We got some good things coming up in the near future. Anyway, guys, we thank you so much again for hopping on. Great talk tonight. And we'll see you all soon.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks for having me. Awesome.